So boom, we back, right? So there's a situation between Offset and not even so much Zoo, which is Nicki Minaj's husband, one of the goons of Zoo. I'm not going to get into the full context, but all you need to know is this. These niggas was howling at the VMAs on camera. From what I seen, they tagged Cardi B in one of the posts and they was talking spicy. Offset sent some DMs to one of the goons. The goon put the DMs on the internet and these cats was waiting outside and uploading videos of them talking about they outside in Atlanta and da 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 da. So it's basically a beef, an internet beef, stemming from the VMAs with Zoo, who is Nicki Minaj's husband or boyfriend, whatever the case is, and Offset, which of course is Cardi B's husband. So with that being said, that's what's going on. These adults, these grown men, put the beef onto the internet. That's all the context you need. I see the news today. I checked Chigs. Shout out to Chig Smooth. Here goes Mysonne holding the media accountable. It's the media's fault. It's not these grown adults' fault for putting this shit on the internet. He doesn't hold them accountable at all. That's the narrative I heard from Chigs. I have not watched any of this video, so we are about to live react to what Mysonne had to say. And if you like this, go and check out the last video I did that you didn't check out because the shit got 25 views of me talking about is hip hop media responsible for a lot of this bullshit. So let's get into this.
I'm always having issues with a lot of shit, man. You know, I seen, I don't know what the situation is between Offset. Probably stems from, Nicki and Cardi beefing. So I know that's probably where it's coming from. And I don't know the particulars of it, right? And neither do I want to unless somebody trying to do something to stop it, right? Unless somebody trying to do something to stop it. If you're not trying to stop no beef, I don't want to hear the rest of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, these blog sites is disgusting.
And see, we got to stop there. Before he gets into the blogs are disgusting bag, he doesn't know anything about the situation. He doesn't have a desire to know anything about the situation. He doesn't want to do his due diligence. He says he doesn't even want to know unless somebody's going to stop it. So really, he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't understand what happened. He just knows there's some form of beef. But even without knowing what happens, he's ready to point the finger. It's funny. So he's about to have, an uninformed opinion, more than likely, on what's going on. That's how I look at it. But let's continue and see what he says about how the blogs are disgusting.
Because y'all really promoting this beat. Every blog site you go on, you got these niggas on the live talking this shit. You're creating a fucking beef. You're amplifying the beef. Like literally, you're amplifying the beef. The shit is corny to me. These blog sites do not need to. That shit is some shit that should have stayed on it. Should stayed on the nigga who page it was on ain't even a nobody. He ain't nobody to even talk about. Not disrespectful. He just ain't nobody. He not in hip hop. Right? The fact that y'all niggas went from his page to create some shit and that when the carnage happens, y'all not gonna be there to clean it up.
Now this is the deal. I'm going to break this down real quick. I'm going to agree with him to an extent, but let's get to the disagreement first. The disagreement is that they created this beef. Let me say that again. This nigga said that the blogs are creating a beef. Let's look at the sequence of events. These niggas get to posting shit. These niggas getting to tag, Cardi B and stuff like that. The man's wife. Then Zeus says some shit that sounds kind of threatening. I'm waiting for one of you guys to da-da-da-da-da. That is an antagonistic behavior. That is what started this shit. That is what actually started this shit. What happens after that? Offset doesn't react publicly. He goes and sends him DMs. So the thing about that, the whole narrative that the media is creating this shit, no. This is what it actually is. Zoo and Zoo's goon created this situation. Offset wanted to address the situation privately. Zoo's goon made the situation public. That's just what it is. And even then, the threat was public in the first place. So the blogs are only reporting what's public. We'll get to the blogs in a moment. But this is the main point. If anything happens, the sole parties responsible for this are the sole parties that chose to engage in this. The way Mysonne speaks is like what the guys did in the video and what they did in the DMs could not lead to anything by itself. He speaks as if the situation is solely responsible to the bloggers who report it as far as anything that happens. And that's just not the case. It's 100% illogical to place that squarely on the shoulders of bloggers instead of the people who antagonize the situation as far as starting it, and then the people who chose to meet and match that energy, and then also the people who choose to publicize it. Now, this is the part where I am going to agree with them. When it comes to the guy that they got this information from, he is not Nicki Minaj's husband, which Nicki Minaj is a megastar. Remember that. Her husband is not a megastar, but he's directly attached to a megastar. This guy is the goon of a husband to a megastar. Like, you got to go pretty far down the chain to get to this guy. But what also gives this situation value in the media sense to where it's something worth reporting is Offset's response to him. And that being publicized by that individual. But I can agree, this guy is not a celebrity. So what he's trying to do as far as this individual, we got to be honest. And again, the accountability comes back here. We can't just put it all on the media. This guy knows he's dealing with celebrities. So this guy knows when he posts this shit, it is going to get clout. It is going to go up. And I'll discuss that probably around the end as far as, again, the media's responsibility, which I discussed in my other video that you didn't watch, but we'll get to that later. So, yeah, it's kind of a reach to get this from him. But at the end of the day, in a media sense, it still holds value. So let's continue to listen to Mysonne.
Y'all gonna scream RIP to niggas. Y'all gonna put posters up. You know, when Nicki end up getting some shit and something happened, Cardi and one of them, all y'all gonna do is say sorry. And say, you know, it should have never happened. It's crazy to me. These fucking blog sites, y'all do way more damage than good, man. Leave that shit alone. Y'all not trying to squash the beefs. Y'all niggas y'all not calling nobody to no table. Y'all not having no conversations trying to squash. We out here trying to end beef, and y'all niggas is promoting it.
I'm just going to say, from Whack 100 to DJ Academics, and it's a bunch of other people that I can go and look up. Mysonne, since he has gotten out, since he's been on his Peace Guy wave, he's had quite a bit of beef. And I know, I get it. He's a street guy, and I don't consider this real beef and all that shit. I get all that, but I don't see the ending beef shit with as far as somebody who chooses to engage in some of that activity and some of that back and forth with some of these people. And again, I could definitely do my due diligence and find more people, because if I'm not mistaken, he's probably said some stuff about Troy Ave. I'm not sure, but I don't want to spread any misinformation. You could do your own research and confirm or deny that and figure out who else he's beef with. But he definitely engages in a lot of this back and forth negative shit with other dudes, some gangster, some not. And that's just what it is.
Stop promoting street. These are street beefs. These niggas that's from the street that handle shit a different way. You're not helping the situation. You're not doing nothing to help by promoting what one nigga said about the other one. So the other nigga retaliate and it turn into some. When the carnage happened in these communities, in these streets in New York City, y'all niggas ain't gonna do nothing.
So I'm stopping there. I'm not doing no more. I'm not listening to no more of this shit. I can't stomach it. I just got to keep it 500,000 with you. I can't fucking stomach it, and I'm gonna tell you why. These niggas, the only reason that this shit is going out is because 3 entertainers are involved in this shit. 3. Cardi B. If they hadn't added Cardi B, it wouldn't even be a situation. Offset, because he's defending his wife, but then Nicki Minaj is this guy's wife on the other side. So that's what's going on. That's why this shit is even being reported in the first place. Guess what all 3 of those motherfuckers have in common? They are entertainers. They are rappers. They are entertainers. They are rappers. Not only are they just rappers, they are rich, mainstream, top tier rappers. When we talk about fame, success, money, deals, all that shit, hits, all that shit. All 3 of them. That's what it is. And this is the thing, and I've discussed this in other videos, man. Because we gotta dissect this part real quick. Offset is out here, and this is no disrespect to Offset or anything like that. I'm just trying to paint a picture for you. Offset is dressing like Michael Jackson in his covers. Offset is in the studio making music, putting out music and stuff like that. Offset is making music videos and stuff like that. Offset is doing shows. Offset is a rapper. Offset is a rapper. But the thing that niggas fuck up, and I'm not saying he's fucking it up. At the end of the day, you a man. So I understand if somebody is threatening your wife or coming at your wife in any type of way, you got to defend that. But with a lot of other rappers, this doesn't apply to him, but it applies to Mysonne towards him. And it applies to other rappers who pretty much take this on. These niggas want to be gangsters and rappers at the same time. And it just like, bruh, you want to know how that works? You go to fucking jail or you die. Because you still into street shit. We got too many rappers that are dead or in jail because they don't get that they're entertainers. They don't get that they're entertainers. They want to still motherfucking run heroin rings. They still want to fucking scam. They still want to do crime. They still want to put hits on people and stuff like that. Because even though they made it out, they still got bad influences around them. And even if these guys are the leaders of the influence, they just can't break past being into the gangster shit. So that's a conundrum where it's like, bruh, like in this case, it doesn't apply to Offset. But as far as what Mysonne is trying to project on the Offset, he's trying to project that this nigga's a street nigga. This nigga's not in the streets no more, bruh. This nigga's an entertainer. He's a family man. And you could call him an ex-street nigga. You could say it's in him, whatever. But The nigga's not on the block. The nigga's not motherfucking busting down bricks and shit like that. That shit is over. That shit is over. Now, guess who is? Guess who is a gangster, allegedly? The nigga he was DMing. The nigga he was DMing, because that nigga's not a rapper. That nigga's not a celebrity. He's an entourage dude. Whatever label you want to put on, he's somebody that hangs with Nicki Minaj's husband. So he's not a celebrity. So as far as this being street beef, these niggas not even from the same city, dog. These niggas ain't from the same hood. They ain't from the same city. It's not like that. It's not like that. I could get real deep with this and like reference other beefs with rappers who don't live in the same state, ain't even from the same coast, where shit really don't happen and shit never hits the fan. You do have somewhere it does hit the fan, but at the end of the day, I think calling this a street beef is blowing it way out of proportion. Let me just keep it 500,000 real quick. Like, real street beef is local. Real street beef is happening between two people in the streets, typically drug dealers. Maybe somebody got robbed or something like that. You know, maybe it's some bullshit gang op shit and shit like that. You know, it's usually that. It's usually far more dangerous because it's hard for people to move around that local area when this is going on. The probability of something happening is infinitely higher than somebody from Atlanta that lives in Atlanta beefing with somebody that's from New York and lives in New York. It's just like, bro, those are two, like, can we stop it, bro? Can we stop it? Like, just got to keep it 500,000. When Nicki husband seen Meek Mill and they had whatever they had going on behind the scenes, you know, Meek said something about him on a record. It was just yelling in a shop. Nothing happened. Like, y'all be blown, like, some of y'all blow this shit out of proportion, man. Like, let's go back to just like we just got to keep it 500,000, bro. Like, the reason a lot of these rappers are dying is not because of beef. Now, when you talk, but let me not say that. The reason a lot of these rappers, the majority of rappers are dying is not because of beef with another out-of-state rapper. Is because they have beef with another rapper in their local market and they in their hometown and they just having that shit going on. And again, you remember what I said about real beef being local and all that stuff. But then you got the whole factor of, you know, robberies. Just robberies. These cats be having, and it just be random robberies where motherfuckers just get too excited and shoot them and stuff like that. You know, it's a lot of cases like that. We ain't gonna get into the drug overdoses and shit like that. But that's a lot of the cases with this shit. It's either local street beef or it's a robbery gone wrong. It's not because this nigga beef with a nigga from Oklahoma and they finally met in motherfucking Miami, Florida. Like, bro, it just don't go down like that, bro. It don't go down. I know y'all would like to think it go down like that, but 9 times out of 10, it's not going down like that. Like, we got to cut the bullshit, man. We got to cut the bullshit. Now, this is the last part. We're going to talk about this blog shit just a little bit. What is the responsibility of the media? The media's job is to give you the news. Now, when Johnny Depp is going through whatever with Amber Rose or Amber Heard and shit like that, white people are not ridiculous enough to say, man, they are intensifying and heightening this shit just by reporting it. You never see those narratives when it come to all the white shit that be going on. Oh, man, the tabloids is just heightening the situation between motherfucking Mariah Carey and Nicki Minaj and Jennifer Lopez beefing on the motherfucking Voice and shit like that, or American Idol, whatever. Like, you don't see that shit. Like, you don't see people saying that shit when it comes to other forms of media. You know why? Because it's illogical. It's illogical. Let me say it one more time. It's illogical. But this is the thing. Y'all look at the East Coast, West Coast shit, and sometimes you'll even look at the, you know, what do you call it? The Warren Chirac with DJ Academics and stuff like that. And when you look at those two things that I mentioned, what is that? What is that? That is the media creating a narrative. When it comes to those two things, as far as like the war in Chirac and some of the things academic has said, and also as far as, as far as like labeling Lil Reese the Grim Reaper and giving these cats nicknames and shit like that, but also the East Coast, West Coast beef being labeled as such, those are narratives that the media created that may have created spicy situations and stuff like that, or may have intensified spicy situations and stuff like that. Now, I talk about the academic shit deeper. All of that is cap, but it's a narrative people like to run with as far as academics. I get into that in the other video. I'm not going to go deep on it. But as far as the East Coast, West Coast shit, you want to hold Source and Vibe and these other magazines who had the covers talking about East Coast versus West Coast and stuff like that. You want to hold them accountable. That's cool because they made the narrative. But at the same time, are you not going to hold Pac accountable? Because he fully embraced that. He engaged in it. He spiced it up himself. And I'm not going to hold you. This be the thing about all these beefs when motherfuckers don't want to hold the motherfucking artists accountable for this shit. They do the most heinous shit when it comes to the beef. They do the most heinous shit. That's just what it is. What I don't understand is if a nigga calls you all types of bitches in your DM and says you a hoe ass nigga and fuck you, suck my dick and all this stuff, you're going to be inclined to want to do something to him, even though it's just in the DM. That's just what it is, if you're a gangster and stuff like that. Because niggas be like emotional and they just like the words get to them and they can't be disrespected and shit like that. That's just what it is. So just the disrespect by itself is going to make somebody want to do something. But then when you get past the disrespect, the shit being public, it's in front of people already, that can pretty much take it to another level to where it's like, okay, now I have to do something. But this is the thing. I could understand if like niggas was local niggas and this happened at a bar and then somebody put it on the internet and it reached thousands of people. This is the deal. In most of these cases, when cats get on these records and do shit, or they get on the internet and make these posts and go live and shit like that, they're already hitting tens of thousands of people themselves because they're fucking famous. The shit is already fucking out there. And you think Baller Alert is going to take it to a different level? And even then, that nigga wanted that shit out there. In most of these beef situations that get reported, these motherfuckers put the shit out there themselves as far as the celebrities. Doesn't apply to this situation necessarily because Offset really been chilling and the other side is not a celebrity. But if we're going to run with this narrative, it's like, bruh, like you got to hold the rappers accountable for having the beef publicly and doing everything publicly, knowing that they have millions and millions of followers and thousands of eyeballs on them. And that even when they drop a fucking single, a bunch of news outlets are going to report the single. This is not no rapper that's like low tier where motherfuckers post them after they like, I'm not even going to get into that, bro. I made my point, man. It's just ridiculous. And as far as Mysonne, he wants to pretty much avert all these street dudes from any form of accountability, and let me put air quotes on street dudes because that's how he looks at rappers who rap about street shit, but are fucking full-time rappers and they just out the hood and they getting on private jets and shit. He still looks at them as gangsters, and niggas should just lean into the entertainment. But hey, some of these niggas is gangsters because they can't get the fuck out the streets and they keep doing the street shit and they don't realize they entertainers. I touched on that on another video, but hey man, I know I'm done. You got it. I'm out.